This Black History Month, the Black Sanctuary honors the life of Harriet Tubman. She was born into slavery, but escaped to emerge as one of the most consequential figures in the fight for freedom against slavery and oppression in the United States. Harriet Ross was born a slave around 1820 on a plantation in Dorchester County, Maryland. She was one of 11 children and affectionately known as Minty to her mother and community. As a slave, she was not educated and started working at the young age of 5. At 13 years of age, Harriet was struck in the head with a weight by her owner or overseer. She was hit trying to protect a fleeing slave and suffered random blackouts for the rest of her life. Around age 25, Harriet married a freeman named John Tubman from a nearby plantation. Unfortunately, her marital status to a free person did not change her position as a slave. In 1849, Harriet escaped from slavery after the death of her master left her future uncertain. She settled in Philadelphia and later returned to Maryland for her husband and learned he had remarried. After escaping bondage in 1849, Tubman risked her life repeatedly by returning to slaveholding states for a total of 19 trips as a conductor on the Underground Railroad. Her work relied on an extensive network of Black and white abolitionists, safe houses, disguises, decoding messages, precise knowledge of terrain, along with expertise in navigational skills. Harriet's first trip was to Baltimore to rescue her sister and 2 children. In 1851, she returned south to rescue her brother and his wife, and again in 1857 to rescue her parents. In 1858, Harriet made a trip back to her home slaveholding state to free an 8-year-old girl, who she later adopted. The young girl was suspected to have been Harriet's niece or actual daughter. Tubman's abolitionist work expanded beyond covert rescue missions. During the Civil War, she served the Union Army as a scout, spy, nurse, and military strategist, roles rarely afforded to women and almost never to Black women. Harriet Tubman went to Hilton Head Island in South Carolina in 1862, where she worked behind Confederate lines on a covert operation for the Union. In South Carolina, her most famous wartime achievement occurred on June 1, 1863, during the Combahee River Raid. Tubman helped guide Union Colonel James Montgomery and approximately 300 Black soldiers up Confederate-controlled waterways. Under her guidance, they stormed enemy territory and destroyed millions of dollars in property, cotton crops, and commissary stores. This courageous raid freed nearly 800 slaves without a single injury or casualty to the battalion she led. Harriet Tubman became the first woman in U.S. history to plan and lead a military operation, as well as the first African-American woman to command a military unit. After the Civil War, Harriet returned north to care for her aging parents in Auburn. She got married a second time to a Civil War vet named Nelson Davis. She spent the next 30 years fighting to receive compensation for her service in the military. Beyond emancipation, Tubman was a lifelong advocate for racial justice, women's suffrage, and care for the poor and elderly. She served her community by caring for the elderly and taking in orphan children. She established a school for freed people and desired to open a permanent home for poor and sick Black people. In efforts to build the home she desired for her community, Tubman secured a bank loan to purchase 25 acres of land in Auburn. However, she was not able to raise the needed funds to build on the land. In 1903, Harriet deeded the land she purchased to the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. 5 years later, the church founded the Harriet Tubman Home for the Aged. Honoring Tubman's legacy lies in remembering her courage, strength, will to resist oppression, extraordinary leadership, and her vision of freedom through the attainment of both individual liberation and community service to uplift the people. Resist erasure by telling Harriet's story, including all parts of her journey from her younger days as a freedom fighter to her seasoned years as a community advocate. Advocate in style. The Black Sanctuary School of Excellence features the legacy of Harriet Tubman in its wearable history clothing line, the Destination Greatness Collection. This piece honors a life in motion toward freedom. Get yours today. Order by visiting the store at the Black Sanctuary website, blksanctuary.org. Remember to share Harriet's story by sharing the course lesson under the education section of our website whenever you wear your apparel. Also, share with friends and family how they can support the Black Sanctuary's initiative to resist erasure by sharing the lessons posted on our site, purchasing from the wearable history collections, and educating others about the Black history represented when wearing items from the collection.